What if I told you that your tears are literal medicine? That each drop contains its own pharmacy of healing compounds, and that the very act of crying is your body performing ancient alchemy. But what happens when the tears don't come? When everyone else seems to cry rivers in their grief, but your eyes remain dry? The question landed in my inbox somewhere this week, and I bet many of you have wondered the same thing sometimes. Why do I not cry when I mourn, grieve, or heal? Other people, they cry all night, and what doesn't happen to me? Am I actually healing? If you ever felt heartbroken because you don't cry the right way, or wondered if your emotional responses are somehow not okay, this video is going to completely shift your perspective. Today we're diving deep into what I call the alchemy of tears, a journey that bridges cutting-edge biochemistry with 5,000-year-old Ayurvedic wisdom. We are going to explore why your body creates 3 distinct types of tears, each with their own healing signature. The fascinating biochemical messages hidden in every drop of your tears, and how ancient wisdom categorizes tears by taste, direction, and elemental energy. And most importantly, why not crying might be exactly what your system needs. I'm here to tell you that whether you're someone who cries easily, rarely, or somewhere in between, by the end of this video, you'll understand that your emotional expression is not just valid, but it's perfectly calibrated to your unique constitution. But before we dive in, I'm very curious. Drop me a drop emoji in the comments if you're somebody who cries easily, or a cactus if tears don't come naturally to you, and a wave if you're somewhere in the middle. And I love to read every single comment below, so I love to know where you fall on this spectrum. So let's share this with each other. If you're interested in more of this kind of content that bridges science and ancient wisdom for emotional healing, make sure you hit that subscribe button as well. We are just getting started. All right. Let's begin with something that will blow your minds. Right now, as you're watching this, your body is actually producing 3 completely different types of tears, each one a masterpiece of biological engineering. And here's the first thing you need to understand. There is no normal when it comes to emotional expressions. The idea that healing has to look in a certain way, that grief must be performed through tears, that processing emotions requires a particular way of displaying, is one of the most harmful myths that we carry. Your nervous system is as unique as your fingerprint. Some people have highly reactive sympathetic responses. They feel everything very intensely and immediately. And others have nervous systems that process internally first, metabolizing emotions through different pathways before any external expression occurs. So think about it this way. When you cut an onion, do you tear up immediately? Or are you one of those people who can chop away without one single drop and keep your eyes dry? So this has nothing to do with your emotional capacity. It's about biological wiring. The same principle applies to emotional tears. We have been conditioned to believe that visible emotional expression equals authentic feeling. But this is cultural programming, not a biological truth. In many cultures, internal processing and stoic resilience are valued over external emotional display. And neither approach is superior. They're simply different pathways to the same destination: healing, integration. But the pressure to perform grief, to demonstrate our pain through culturally acceptable channels often disconnects us from our actual experience. So when you're constantly measuring your emotional response against others, you're not actually feeling, you're performing. Some people are emotional processors. They need to move through expressions immediately. And others are emotional metabolizers, need time and space to internally digest before any external response occurs. And both types heal completely, just through very different mechanisms. So if you're someone who doesn't cry immediately, it doesn't mean that you're emotionally avoiding your feelings. It means that your system processes emotions through different channels. Physical movement, creative expressions, deep contemplation, or maybe somatic release that doesn't involve any tear. So the question isn't, why do I not cry? The question is, how does my system naturally process and release emotional energy? So once you understand your unique emotional language, then you can start working with it instead of against it. So for a moment now, let's talk about what we think healing should look like versus what it actually looks like. Social media, movies, and cultural narratives have created this image of healing as dramatic and very visible. The person who breaks down crying and then feels better afterwards. The emotional breakthrough moment, the cleansing sob session. A lot of tears, a lot of drama. And of course, on the socials we see more and more of this. But real healing is often quiet, internal, and invisible to outside observers. It's the gradual shift in how you respond to triggers. It's the increased capacity to hold difficult emotions without being overwhelmed. It's the slow integration of wisdom that comes from walking through pain rather than around it. Many people who don't cry during grief are actually engaged in profound internal alchemy. They're processing, integrating, and transforming their experiences in ways that don't produce external tears, but create lasting internal change. There are two primary styles of emotional processing: external and internal. External processors need to move emotion out through expression, talking, crying, physical movement, creative outlets. And then there are the internal processors who need to move through emotions in a way as reflection, contemplation, and more gradual integration. And neither style is better or more effective. It's just different. Different approaches to the same goal: metabolizing emotional experiences and returning to balance. And if you're an internal processor, trying to force external expression, you're working against your natural grain. It's like trying to force a river to flow uphill. One of the most damaging things that we can do is turn grief into performance. When we're constantly checking, am I grieving right? Am I feeling enough? Should I be crying more? We're not actually grieving. We're performing grief for an imaginary audience, or actually for a real audience sometimes if we do this on, for example, social media. But true grief, true healing doesn't care about any audience. It has its own rhythm, its own timeline, its own expression. And sometimes that expression is tears, but sometimes it's silence. Sometimes it's rage, sometimes it's numbness or profound stillness. All of these are valid forms of emotional processing. The imitation of healing looks like what we think healing should look like. Actual healing looks like whatever your system needs to return to wholeness. And for many people, that doesn't include tears, and that's not just okay, that's actually perfect. Now, let's dive into the fascinating science behind tears. because understanding this will completely change how you think about emotional release. Emotional tears are not just symbolic. They are biochemical messengers of inner transformation. Unlike reflex tears that cleanse the eye, emotional tears carry substances that reflect and help release our internal state. They contain adrenocorticotropic, that's a difficult word, hormone, or ACTH, which stimulates cortisol and helps regulate the body's stress response. They hold prolactin, a hormone involved in emotional regulation, and they contain leucine and enkephalin, another difficult word, a natural opiate with pain-relieving properties. And this is one reason why often we feel lighter after a deep cry. The body is self-soothing, metabolizing pain through its own internal pharmacy. Isn't that amazing? When you cry, you're literally releasing stress hormones and flooding your system with natural pain relief. But here's what's crucial to understand. These same biochemical processes can occur through other forms of release as well. The hormonal regulation, the stress relief, the neurochemical rebalancing. This can happen through breath work, through movement, through meditation, through creative expression. Your body has multiple pathways to achieve the same goals of regulation that tears actually accomplish. So, if tears don't come naturally to you, your system might be assessing these benefits through different channels. Ayurveda, the ancient healing system of India, offers profound insight into the nature of tears. It teaches that tears have taste, direction, and even elemental character, expressions of our dosha balance. Vata tears fall from the inner corners of the eyes and they taste more bitter. They arise in a moment of fear, overwhelm, or insecurity, the kind of tears that tremble our soul. These tears carry the quality of air and space, helping to release anxiety and nervous system activation. Then there's Pitta. Pitta tears, they fall from the center of the eye and they taste more salty. They are hot and more intense. They are born from frustration, anger, perhaps jealousy, the kind that leaves salt marks on the cheeks. These tears carry the quality of fire and water, helping to cool inflammatory emotions. And then there's Kapha, and Kapha tears fall from the outer edge of the eyes and they taste sweet. So maybe you can already guess where these tears are coming from. Those sweet tears, they arise from beauty, compassion, longing or love, the kind of tears that soften the heart and deepen connection. These tears, they carry the quality of earth and water, helping to ground and nourish our system. Nature, in her wisdom, built us to cry through these different expressions, the bitter, the salty, and the sweet. We are constantly returning to balance. And if we allow the rasa, this is what we call the essence in Ayurveda, if we allow this to move through us in this way, we pulse back into alignment with life. But there is a key insight here. Your constitution is naturally balanced. If your doshas are in harmony, you might not need the corrective action that tears provide. Your system might already be maintaining the optimal balance through other means. So, to cry is not to collapse, it's to realign. It's a sacred act of inner weather, changing form, offering release, medicine, and renewal. But this is not the only form of sacred release available to us. Some people release through movement, dance, yoga, running, martial arts. Our body metabolizes through emotion, through physical expression, achieving the same benefits to regulate as our tears do. So other people release through breath, pranayama, breath work, conscious breathing exercises or practices that move energy and emotion through the system. And creative expressions can be profoundly releasing as well, like writing, painting, music, crafting. The act of creation moves internal energy to external form, providing the same sense of completion and relief. Some people release through service, through connection, perhaps being in nature or connecting with a pet. One of my favorite ways of connecting, or through meditation or prayer. So the pathway doesn't matter. What truly matters is that the energy moves, that internal pressure finds healthy expression, and that the system will return to balance. So your emotional expression is not broken if it doesn't match others' expression. It's calibrated to your unique constitution, your nervous system, your energetic blueprints. And the goal isn't to cry more or feel more intensely. The goal here is to understand how your personal system naturally processes and releases emotional energy, and to honor that process completely. If you're someone who processes internally, maybe create some space for these internal processes. And if you're someone who releases through movement, move. If you're someone who finds resolution through contemplation, contemplate. Trust your system's wisdom. It knows how to heal. So let's come back to the original question: why don't I cry when I mourn, grieve, and heal? Am I actually healing? The answer is yes. You might be healing in exactly the way your system was designed to heal. The absence of tears does not indicate the absence of processing. It might indicate the presence of a different, equally valid form of emotional alchemy. Healing isn't about looking like everyone else. It's about returning to your natural state of balance and wholeness through whatever pathway your system provides. Some people cry their way into balance, others think their way into balance, and others move their way into balance, while others just sit and breathe their way back into balance. All pathways lead to the same destination: integration and renewed capacity to engage with life from a place of wholeness. So, all that said, now I would love to hear from you. In the comments below, please share how your system naturally processes difficult emotions. Do you cry? Do you move? Do you create? Or all of the above? Do you contemplate? So let's create a space where all forms of emotional processing are recognized and actually honored. If this video shifted something in you or for you, if it helped you understand your emotional responses in a new way, share it with someone who might need to hear this message as well. And hit that subscribe button if you want more content that bridges ancient wisdom and modern understanding for deeper healing. Remember, your tears are medicine when they come, and their absence is medicine when they don't. Your emotional expression is not a performance. It's your sacred conversation between your inner world and your healing system. Trust that conversation. Just trust the process and trust your unique pathway back into wholeness. The alchemy of tears isn't just about crying, it's about transformation. And transformation happens in as many ways as there are people to experiencing it. Your way is the right way for you. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.